Dimensions Weaving Looms provide an affordable, easy way to make beautiful woven projects for you, your home, your friends, and family. Let me show you the tools you need and just how easy it is to get started. There are two sizes of looms. The large loom is ideal for wall hangings, placemats, your larger projects. The small loom is perfect for jewelry, mug rugs, and smaller wall hangings. Both looms come with a shuttle. There is also your weaving comb and needles and your warp string. To get started, you will need to choose a warp string. This is a sturdy string or cord that does not stretch. There are tons of choices for warp string. Pick one that you like. Let's get started weaving. The first step is to string the warp. Start by tying a small loop in the warp string, just like this. Then you'll place it on the top left peg, and you'll wind the warp up and down around each peg, ending with a small loop on the bottom right peg. Warp the entire loom or just a section depending on the project that you're making. The weft. The weft materials are next. These are yarns, roving, or other fibers. You can combine many colors and textures in one project. When picking your weft, look for good contrast in colors and textures. Adding fringe is optional, but it makes a nice finish on the bottom edge of your weaving. Begin by cutting pieces of yarn in groups of 2 to 4 strands, twice the length of the finished fringe. Fold the strands in half and insert under the warp string. Open the loop and pull the ends through to form a knot, and pull down gently to secure the knot below the peg. Let's get weaving. Use yarn or pencil roving for the first few rows of weft to help stabilize your project. To start, wrap some yarn or pencil roving around the shuttle, or thread onto a tapestry needle. Tuck the end into the warp about 2 inches from the edge and weave over and under the warp to the edge. Then press the weft down with the weaving comb or your fingers after each row. Gently weave all the way across the warp in the opposite direction. Be careful not to pull the weft too tightly. If you do, the warp will pull in on the sides and give your weaving an hourglass shape. Continue weaving, combing, and returning until you fill the desired area with a color or texture you like. Then change to something new. Weave strips of loose roving with your hands and create interest in your project by spacing out a variety of textures. As you weave with roving, gently pull the sections between the warp to create a bubbling effect. Add weft as far up the warp as you would like. You can also add a tassel or a raya knot in the middle of your weaving. To do this, pull the yarn up from the warp like this, then tie a knot just like you did for the fringe. Here it is one more time. Pull the yarn up through the warp here, make the loop, and pull through the ends. Finishing your weaving, you will need a wooden dowel or stick to finish your project. Slide the warp off the first 2 pegs and cut the ends open. Tie the ends together in a double knot. Continue cutting and tying for all the warp strings until you get to the last 2 pegs. Then cut the second to last warp string open, divide the ends, adding the left end to the final warp strings, and tie in the final double knot. Remove the project from the loom by gently lifting it off the pegs, and tie the warp strings to the dowel with double knots. Turn your weaving over and tuck in the loose ends and trim, and you have your finished weaving project. Weaving is such a fun, easy project, so pick up a loom and give it a try.